Hi, Commodores. My name is Mrs. Friis, and I teach design at Tates Creek Middle School. And I want to welcome you to a really fun first 9 weeks of the 2020-2021 school year. This is a little presentation that I would like to go over just to get you used to what design is going to look like for this 9 weeks, what you're in for, what you need, expectations, all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we do, though, I have a couple of pictures up here on my first slide that says you are going to be fine, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know that this is a weird school year. I know that it's unlike anything that you've seen before. Just know in the beginning, the next week or two, I'm here for you. I mean, I'm always here for you, but especially in the first week or two, just those things like getting started, making sure that you understand when your Zooms are, what Canvas is, how you turn in assignments. We are all here for you. We're all learning together, and you are going to be fine. So don't hesitate to feel free to reach out to me, even if it's the middle of the night or whatever, to email me here in just a second. I'll show you my email address. So let's start with this. What is design? Design is a part of the IB curriculum, but it is creating products, solving problems, and creatively exploring the relationship between art, technology, and service. So essentially, we make really cool things. I wish we were in my classroom right now, but I have one of the largest classrooms in the school because it has a makerspace of sorts. So we get in there and we use the design cycle to create really cool projects and crafts and solving problems for service type projects. So it's a really, really fun class. That doesn't mean that it won't also still be fun just because it's going to look a little bit different this 9 weeks. But I did want to show you what design class usually looks like. So these are some of the projects that we've done just in the past couple of years. And if you can see my mouse, we love to rip apart pallets of wood and then create bird houses out of it. So we do some woodworking. We like to burn images into wood. Here's an example right over here of using the design cycle to be able to plan and create some woodworking projects. Wood is not the only thing that we do in design class, though. We do sewing, a little bit of painting, visual arts. Last year, 6th grade melted crayons and created some really cool projects that way. This is an alcohol ink coaster. So I'm very big about it's technology, it's art, it's the relationship between the two. We have a 3D printer, which is a really, really cool resource to be able to use as well. And so each grade level does something different, and it's always been really fun just to kind of get your hands dirty, making really cool stuff. What you're going to need this year, though, or for this 9 weeks, you're going to need a Chromebook, which you should already have, or some sort of computer or access to the internet, and of course access to our Canvas course. So if you haven't heard yet, which you probably have because you access this PowerPoint through Canvas, but every little thing that you're going to need for my class will be in our Canvas course. And I'm only going to be posting things just a little bit at a time, because if I posted all of the assignments for the whole 9 weeks, you would quickly become overwhelmed, and I wouldn't blame you at all for that. So I'm just going to be posting a couple of assignments for the week, about a week at a time. And then, of course, please make sure that you're also bringing a really great attitude. If you'll notice over here, tools of the trade, these are things that would normally be in my classroom: glue and scissors and paint, pencils, lots of different types of adhesives and erasers. But they've been replaced with things that we're really going to need this year more than ever: discipline and patience, enthusiasm, a backbone, and energy. And this one I love right here: perseverance. So even when things get tough, you're pushing through and you're staying at it for the most part. So these are going to be really important tools to be able to bring to class and when I see you as well. The design cycle. Basically, the heart and soul of design class is the design cycle. So not only do all of your grades come from your mastery of the design cycle, but it's also what we use to create everything. It's a really, really smart, intuitive way to be able to make sure you're covering all of your bases when you're making anything. So just really quickly, the design cycle usually starts up here in the blue area: inquiring and analyzing. This is you researching and asking a lot of questions about your project or whatever it is you might want to make. Then it moves into this yellow section: developing ideas, coming up with a solid plan, writing down those measurements, or calling the people that you need to call to make things happen. And then the green section, everyone's favorite part, my favorite part too, is actually creating the product and really getting your hands dirty and trying things out, making mistakes along the whole way, because that's such a big part of the process. And then, of course, the last section is evaluating, really looking at your project and thinking, did it work? Did it not work? What could I do differently next time if I had the chance to redo it? So that is the design cycle. That's like the bread and butter of our class, so to speak. So why the design cycle? Well, as I mentioned before, the design cycle helps you create a product, solve a problem, or realize a goal in the most efficient way possible. The design cycle ensures that you've thought of every angle of the project. It actually helps you make less mistakes as you put your plan into action, because you've really thought things through in a really intuitive, smart way. Mistakes are still 100% a part of the process. Mistakes are expected and respected in design class. There's really no other better way to learn than when you make a mistake, because usually that's the a way that you know not to make that mistake again. It's like it really solidifies that knowledge in your brain. So let's talk about the nitty gritty. What's design class going to look like this year? Well, I'm going to see you twice a week. So it's either going to be, I'm going to see you on Mondays and Thursdays, or I'm going to see you on Tuesdays and Fridays. I won't see anybody. I mean, I'll see my Commodore time on Wednesdays, but Wednesdays is a very different type of a schedule, and that will be talked more about as we go on. And it's certainly your 6th, 7th, or 8th grade core teachers are going to talk a lot more about your Commodore time and what that looks like on Wednesdays. There will be 2 assignments per week for me, 1 for each day that I see you. So really, all you're really expected to do, let's say I have you on Mondays and Thursdays. Well, all you need to do is show up to our Zoom on Mondays at our scheduled time, and I'm going to play for you a pre-recorded lesson, a lot like this one. This is sort of my testing kind of lesson. I'm going to play for you a lesson like this, and then the rest of the Zoom, so most lessons are going to last 5-10 minutes maybe. The rest of the Zoom is for you to ask me questions, for us to work through all of the issues that you might be having, answer questions, obviously, and to help you with the technology side of things, showing you how to pull things up and where to go to turn things in, etc. And so then, of course, you'll turn in whatever assignment that is. Some of you might be done during that class period, like on that Monday that we have that Zoom, and then you're good to go. If not, then it's homework and needs to be turned in to me by the next time that I see you, which would be Thursday. So if I have you Monday and you need it until Thursday to be able to finish something, that's no problem. But you certainly don't want to get behind. So make sure that you're always turning those things in. Like I said, I'll record the lesson and instructions in advance. When we meet for our Zooms, I'll play that lesson. And then number 3, right down here, these are the 3 types of grades that we give at Tates Creek Middle School. And of course, I give in my class as well. Progress grades is practice. So that's the putting those things into action, just practice. So if you'll either get a 1, 2, or 3, and it's no sweat if you get a 1 or a 2. That just shows that you're learning. Approaches to learning is those life skills. Are you turning things in on time? Are you arriving to Zooms on time and participating? And things like that. And then achievement is, of course, mastery. Those are like the tests. Those are the major grades in class. Speaking of Zoom, let's talk about Zoom, because that's our major form of communication. It's the way that you and I are going to hold our video conferencing. It's how we have class twice a week. So please be on time and dressed for success. That doesn't mean necessarily you're in a suit and tie, of course, but just make sure that, you're not still maybe in pajamas. You certainly have a shirt on. It's kind of funny. My daughter goes to Tates Creek Elementary School, and they just had a meeting with elementary school students about what to wear to Zooms. And they had said that there were a lot of boys last year that would show up to Zooms with their shirts off and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure that when you dress for success for Zooms, it really sets a tone that you're ready for the school day, that it's a real school day, instead of it just being rolling out of bed and kind of doing your work. Try and find a quiet area of your house to Zoom in. If you can, that's great. If not, it's really important to try and find a nook or a corner, or maybe you have a room to yourself. That's really ideal. So that way you can really focus and not have any distractions. Your username that you sign into the Zoom needs to be your real first and last name. Participation is key. So I really want to see your face. There's a lot of really cool buttons and things like thumbs up and high fives and stuff that you can do to really show that participation. And we'll talk about all of that soon as well. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. The chat feature is for questions and comments about class topics only. Please don't chat about like random things in the chat because it kind of clogs it up. And those people that were searching for answers to their questions won't be able to see those answers as well. So really, unless of course it's at the end of a class period and maybe we have a little bit of extra time. And if we're just sort of chatting, then that's perfectly fine that you do that. If there are Zoom technical difficulties, which I promise there will be, teachers have been in meetings for the past 2 or 3 weeks, tons of Zooms. We're talking like 4, 5, 6 Zooms a day. And every now and then there's always a Zoom issue. Either the whole Zoom for the country is down or our district is down, or somebody has weird internet connection and it doesn't quite, you can't quite hear them very well. If that happens, just know that you still have that assignment that I've pre-recorded and that'll be in our Canvas. So there's no excuse to not do your work. You can still access that. And then any questions that you might have wouldn't be over Zoom. You can feel free to message me through Canvas or always feel free to email me as well. Okay? This is just a little bit about me before I let you go. Again, like I said, my name is Mrs. Friis. This is actually over here where my mouse is. This is a collage that I found so randomly it was my very first year teaching, and I created this collage. So I'm from Oklahoma. I'm in the Enclacha house. This is me and my husband right before we got married. This is my cat who has since passed away, and just represents how I love cats and used to have a couple. I love to travel, so that's me traveling. These are my parents, and that's my brother. I'm a big reader. I love interior design and decor and kind of like retro stuff and thrifting and like shopping and things like that. Those are my big hobbies. And then over here are the best parts of my life for sure, which is my family. I have 2 kids. That's Fiona and that's Hank. So here's one of just her at the pool the other day. And then here's one of Hank going to his first day of school. He's in the young toddler program at his little class. And then this is me and my husband last year and our 10-year anniversary. And this is in New York City, actually. So this is kind of the skyline in the background. So it's just a little bit about me. I definitely want to know more about you as well coming up soon. So I wanted to put that out there first. Last thing, you're probably wondering, like, well, what the heck are we going to do in design? Because usually when you come into my classroom, you're knee deep in Legos and clay and paint and wood and tools. So it's all online. And so we're going to make it about digital art and creating really beautiful things with your Chromebook with really cool software programs. You'll find out more about that next week. But our next unit has to do with creating digital art, tourism, and the great city of Lexington, Kentucky. So I cannot wait to show that to you soon. Have a fabulous day. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me in our next Zoom. See you later.